Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday night at 9. I am your host, Coach Glenda, here with my co-host and course manager, Rufus Carpenter. We have another great topic for you guys tonight. This is an open forum to set intentions for relationship success. And before we dive into tonight's topic, I want to first say Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers and all of the wannabe mothers and all of the ladies. And I'm going to allow Mr. Carpenter to tell us a little bit about himself and his background.
She missed out the bonus mothers. All the bonus mothers, we want to look out for you too. So happy Mother's Day to you as well. Like she said, I'm Rufus Carpenter. My background is space a little different than most. I came through this space by being a family of 14, lived in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and we never had enough of anything. With 14 kids, we never had enough. So as a young child, I made it a point to pitch in and help. And I can remember this one weekend where I worked the whole weekend. I cut wood, I raked grass, I pulled leaves. I did some of everything. Even went to store for people, and I even went as far as picking up soda bottles and cans from the side of the road to do that. All together, I made like $35 of change that weekend. And I went to take it to my mom. And when I gave it to my mom, she was so proud. She started crying and she kissed me on my forehead and she said, Rufus, I love you. And she gave me like $1 and some of it back. She said, Rufus, this is you. Spend it the way you want to. That day changed my life. From that point on, I made it a life mission to be a helper, to help people. And some people call it helper's high. And that's still with me today. If you need it, I'll give you the shirt off my back. That's how involved I'm in with helping the success. My didn't stop there. When I joined the United States Army, one of my jobs, one major jobs, was a race and relationship leader who had the responsibility of going to any unit within our organization. And I had to be the first person on the scene. And I did something what's called an intake form. And with that form, I would decide which level of responsibility or which resources we had to solving that problem. So my background is kind of diverse. So I'm happy to be here tonight. And tonight, this container called Sunday Night at 9 is designed to be where you and 20 of your girlfriends, you're in the living room, you're relaxed, you kick back, the kids are in bed, you might have a glass or two of wine, and you and your girlfriends, you're talking about relationship issues. Now, normally here we have a topic, and we have a topic at night, like Linda said, sisters, it's time to get real. And that's our topic starting out. But you can talk about anything related to relationships because you don't know sometimes just to say some of your challenges and some of your breakthroughs where the sister beside you, she may be going through the same thing and you don't know because she might dress herself up a little better than you did yours when you went through it. But by you saying it, you giving her the hope that if you went through it, she went through it. So be open tonight, relax, and just sit back and let's just have a good time tonight. Glenda?
All right. Well, Mr. Carpenter already gave you the topic for tonight. Hey, sis, it's time to get real. All right. This session is about getting real with ourselves and our relationships. It's an open, nurturing, and judgment-free conversation centered around how we as women can lead our love lives with intention, clarity, and personal power. Too often we enter relationships out of hope, habit, and history, not intention. That ends here today. So we're going to briefly cover, I'm just going to skim down. I'm not going to dive into it because we're going to do that throughout our open discussion tonight. But we are going to cover intentionality over impulse, self-worth is standard, say what you mean clearly, boundaries are not barriers, and the growth mindset in love. So, Mr. Carpenter, I'm going to allow you to start off the open discussion for tonight.
Well, when you said that, when you went through that that roll up there, the intentions over impulse, self worth, and standards, and clarity and growth. This is what a lot of our audience know. Because I know as a male, when I get in a relationship, one of the first things, if it's a strong lady, if it's a lady that knows her worth, she want to automatically kind of set an agenda. She'll say, "Hey, what are we doing here?" She want to set some type of intention. Where are we going? We're just starting out, and I'd be saying, "Whoa, wait a minute now. We're just sitting there having dinner. This, we haven't even got to finish the salad yet, and you've already told us what we're going to do with this dating." And that's kind of wise, because if you communicate out front and your intentions are known, then the person have an option. Am I going to continue down this road, or am I going to break off right here and everybody be happy? So the night is something I think a lot of us know a lot about, and we want you to share. How do you handle it when you're getting ready to get involved with someone, or you involved with someone, or you at a juncture of your relationship and it's not going the way you feel it should go, and you have to do what's called circle back and do a checkup? Here's what we're talking about tonight. How can you get your intentions right, whether it's boundaries or whether it's communication, or whether it's just saying, "Hey, look, if you value me in this relationship, here's where we need to renegotiate some things." And that's all the night is. The night is, since it's Mother's Day, and this is where let's get real with this. Let's make this something meaningful that we can walk away and get something from this. Because the majority of us on this line, all of us are African American or Black, however you want to call that. But a lot of times, African American women get stereotyped. The society has kind of put you in a position where they see you as one way, where really you have the right to be in who you want to be in a relationship. You shouldn't be put in a box. You should have the freedom to be who you want to be. And the night you get the chance to do that. So who want to start us off talking about some of the things, how they talk in relationships? Because intentional relationship is you making a conscious decision to align your actions with your worth. And you're communicating that clearly, whether it's with boundaries and say, "Here's what I will or will not do," or whether it's setting expectations in a relationship. Because when you talk with somebody, you got some type of expectation. It's just not willy-nilly. It's just not like we're just gonna come together and go to the movie a couple times, whatever. That's not the way you do it. And a lot of times we don't say, "Here's our goals in relationships. Here's what I'm looking towards in a relationship." How do we negotiate those? How do we say those things? When you're talking about relationship, whether it's you and a person talking and it drifts into a relationship, or whether you and a person sit down and say, "Look, let's start dating," what that looks like for you, and here's what it looked like for me. Who takes the role? Do the lady takes the role? The guy take the role in saying, "Here's what I'm expecting. Here's what I'm looking towards. Here's what I'm hoping we're doing here." How does that conversation happen, and what does that conversation look like? Anybody want to share how that conversation they think should look or should sound? Anybody want to get in before we get into all of this study material tonight?
Well, I'll start off. Okay. I don't see nothing wrong with laying down the rules from the beginning or being straight up, because you're not wasting each other's time. You know, Plus they'll know what I'm expecting and vice versa, and they'll know what I'm putting up with and vice versa. So if I can't handle that, then I'll know to keep it moving, or they'll know to keep it moving. That's all.
Sure. Is that in the first is that in the first date, the first time y'all sit down across from each other in Olive Gardens? Is the first time y'all together, y'all have that
Of
conversation?
course,
Or
of course, because we don't be before we sit down at Olive Garden, we done had several phone conversations. So,
okay.
and once we get to the first meeting, that way, if I can tolerate what he look like, he can tolerate what I look like. Not that that's important, but I don't want to know how you sit, how you eat, how you wearing your clothes, and yeah. That's the first conversation when we meet. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there's no need of playing with each other. I could,
I agree.
I remember. I want to put this out right quick because when we have these things, so many times deja vu gets come up so fast. I remember once I was sitting with this lady, and this was I was a lot younger man then. And we sit down, and I thought we were just sitting down because she was a beautiful lady and attractive. And I thought we'd sit down and we have a cup of coffee or tea, and we'd sit down and we'd talk. And that's far as I had thought. I didn't think no further than that. To be honest with you, my mind was she's a beautiful person. She seems nice. She talk well. Hey, let's go have some coffee and tea. Sit down conversation. That's my mind stopped right there. And the first thing she said, like, look, if we're going to date, we got to have some type of intentions. I'm not just going to do this and I'm not going to just do that and not do this and that. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I remember the first time that happened, and it was like, Jesus, what's going on here? I was actually saying, whoa, I don't know if I want to go down this route. Anybody got any stories like they want to share? What Andres? What somebody said?
Oh, Andre says it should be a candid conversation, he thinks. And then he came back and said, at least get the free meal first.
Anybody want to share? Because Sharon started us off by saying that it should be right up front from the beginning. And I came in second to that and saying the first time I had that real conversation like that. And it shocked me. It really shocked me because I wasn't prepared for all of that. I thought it was going to be light. We get to have a little chit chat, get to know each other. And then maybe down the road a piece, we'd go thinking about something further. And it shocked me as a man when I first had it that way. Was I naive, ladies?
No, I think you were taken off guard, but I think I agree with the woman how she presented that to you because basically from the sounds of it, y'all were over 35, 40 probably, and she knew what she wanted and she didn't want to waste your time and she didn't want you to waste her time. If y'all wasn't talking about dating, it's no need for us to continue, after this meal, it's no need for us to continue anything because if you're not thinking about long-term relationship or marriage, and that's what she wanted, why continue? Let's go ahead and have kicks and giggles over this free meal I'm about to get.
That's where I always had my issue. When women say when they're together, they say wasting time. If we're gonna sit down and have some coffee and tea, if you can't see it going past this, it's a waste of time. I never understood that. And as a relationship coach, I understand it now.
Okay.
But I still don't. I still have a little, not heartburn, but I still have a little reservation with that.
Why? Why?
Because we're social beings. God made us to be communal type family.
Right, but everybody don't have the same mindset. If I'm not going to say you per se, but a man and a woman that goes out to eat for lunch or dinner, a man could be like, okay, I'm interested in her for sex. I really like her. I really want to get to know her a little bit more, but ultimately your goal is to get her into bed. And this girl has already been through 3-4 dates similar to that. So at this point, she's like, well, if that's what he wants, even though he's not stating it up front, I'm going to let him know right out the gate that if we're not, if this is not going any further, then, if there's no long-term relationship, trying to come out of this or marriage, because that's what I want. And that's why I'm entertaining you. We've had how many conversations before we actually met? Your conversation is good. So I'm like, oh, I want to see how far this can go, but not as far as to the bedroom. And then we stop right there. I want to, this girl probably wanted to have a long-term relationship with you, but in the man's mind, he's like, shoot, I'm just trying to get into bed.
I'm going to be quiet. Don't let someone else talk. I'm going to be quiet.
No problem. And you're right, Sharon, that's always the case. 90% of the time. I won't say all, I'm gonna give them a little space, but 90% of the time it is. Most men think like that. They don't come into relationships nowadays looking for long-term or marriage because they're still trying to figure things out. Maybe they came out of a bad marriage or a bad relationship, but when they are just dating, just randomly dating, sex is on their mind because I was told by my father, a man has to have a release. So they just looking for a way to get off to satisfy that need for right now. And you might just be the victim.
Andre
So
put something in there that I wasn't gonna touch, but since he put it in text, then it's I can talk about it now.
Okay.
Because I've been on the other end where I've sit down and I just wanted a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And the lady was saying, well, what we're gonna do? And that's what do you mean, what we're gonna do? So I was saying I just wanted the coffee or tea. And the woman said to me, what we gonna do? And I said, well, matter of fact, scared me. And I said, well, I'm going back to work. I don't know what you're gonna do. So
what did she mean? What did she want to do? Oh,
you said the same thing a man want to do.
Oh, okay, all right.
But
okay.
I told her I gotta go back to work.
Oh.
I'm telling you. So I think it's both sides. I don't think so much men. I think nowadays, like Andre said, it's reversed. Now, a lot of time women will say, hey, look, we'll take the lead.
Either way, they're both wrong, in my opinion.
Well, they got something called modern relationships now.
Yeah, but most of them they don't pan out or play out like one of the parties expected, because somewhere in the midst of them, bumping and grinding and hitting and missing, somebody catches feelings, and then when the real truth comes out, you don't want a relationship, and no, I thought we were just playing. I mean, like, where did this come from? Right. I thought we were just good, just playing here and there, when I come through town. No, somebody in the equation, their feelings changes when you're just that so-called mutual thing. Yeah, somebody feelings always change. And once it's communicated, that's when everything, comes to an end, or somebody breaks the other one's heart.
Before we go into open up the actual study night, audience, what are your conversation about what Glenda just said, or what I just said? What are your conversation about that? Anybody want to share any examples, or anybody want to share any thoughts on what Glenda just said?
I've got a thought.
Go ahead. Hi, Gigi. How you doing? Happy Mother's Day, Gigi.
I'm good. Thank you. With the first dating thing, if you don't vet that person correctly, you could end up with some nightmares. And with sex can pull a person to you that you really need to let them go. Can you understand what I'm saying?
I do, because even if they're not good for you and you pull them in with sex and they get hooked to you, you're gonna have stalkers.
Right. And sex complicates all friendships and relationships, especially if your intentions are made known out the gate. Nobody wants to feel used unless you don't have a conscience.
Now everybody get a chance to say yes or no now. Hold up, Glenda. Hold up now. There ain't nobody no babes in the woods now. Let's make sure.
Yeah, but most women, sometimes most women don't tell you, that they're sleeping with you, thinking that, you're going to settle down with them. They just play the wifey role, thinking that you're going to, say, oh, he's going to realize that, I'm good for him and he's going to want to settle down with me. No, first of all, you didn't communicate with the person. He never showed you that he was going to settle down with you. He does not even talk to you every day. So what makes you think that this man is going to circle back to you and settle down with you? Relationships nowadays, modern or not, we are not communicating with each other clearly. That's why our hearts are being broken. That's why tires are being slashed and people are wanting to pour grits on you.
You went back to old Al Green now, girl. You took it back a while.
That's okay, but it's real talk. But like you said, if you don't, you have to make your intentions known up front. Even before you get to the dinner table, you done had 6 or 7 conversations before you guys scheduled a first date to, meet each other in person, or, just to be able to have each other's undivided attention. There are things that should have been talked about prior to make the other person know, okay, I ain't on that BS. Don't come at me with that nonsense and foolishness. I have a desire because of my age, 35 and up. I desire to be a wife. And if you're not trying to have a wife and you want to play games, I am not the one that you want to take to dinner. Because yes, I'm going to take the free meal, but it won't be anything after this because you don't have the same desires, morals, and values as I do. Because eventually, and when you're dating somebody, y'all want, men and women, they want to go to bed with you. But why do I keep going to bed with you and there's no commitment there? Because you could be sleeping with someone else and I could be too, because there's no commitment. And that makes it even worse because nobody is committed to each other. Y'all swapping juices.
Okay. Any more comments before we start getting into the meat of the conversation, meat of the material?
Okay, Andre, Andre says he got 5 baby mamas. You about right. Because he didn't make his intentions known. So he was dropping seeds somewhere everywhere. And what else did he say? She desires to be a wife, but dating someone her son's age.
All right, Glenda, let's get into the material, and then we'll come back to the to open discussions.
Not a problem. I'm going to start off with our first example for tonight. We have Monique, a 35-year-old entrepreneur, realized she was settling in her relationship due to fear of being alone. After attending a self-love workshop, she recognized her value and ended the relationship. Good job, Monique. She later met someone who respected her boundaries and shared her life goals.
So if we break this down on the first end, Monique, she got into the relationship without setting clear goals in the beginning, apparently. Right. And she just settled. And she settled and began to being an entrepreneur at that age. Entrepreneurs, you really don't have kind of that time. So I can imagine that something just transpired. She went out and then she realized that wasn't who she wanted. Now, what would that conversation look like? How would you have that conversation? Glenda, if you had to tell, let's say, Billy Bob that he ain't cutting the mustard and you letting him go, what would that conversation look like?
Let's see. Did she give the number of years? No, she didn't say the years, but to be honest, the way I called it quits with my last relationship, I told him I don't have another 15 minutes, let alone another 15 years to give you. So I tried to be as clear as possible, and I put him on a serious block after his response.
Okay, all right. Any additional questions or comments about this first scenario about Monique? Monica, and she decided that it said a thing. She attended a self-love workshop where apparently she had a chance to assess her values and her self-worth, and she realized that the relationship wasn't living up to who she was as a person. So she decided to make that cut. Any comments about that before we move on to the next one? Out of curiosity.
Andre says, out of curiosity, did she doubt her self-worth prior to the workshop? It sounded like she did, based off the example, in my opinion. Because it took the self-love workshop to, it gave her some type of, strength to let the relationship go because she realized the relationship wasn't serving her.
Yeah, because it said she felt the fear of being alone. the fear of being alone, because sometimes people feel if I got a piece of somebody, I got somebody. That beats
Right.
a blank. Something beats a blank. I remember when I was a teenager, that's what we used to say, something beat a blank.
Yeah, but in relationships, that
Yeah.
I don't think that that should apply, which it still does, but it's the wrong mindset because even when I was in my alone time in between relationships, that was my time to focus on myself, heal from the past relationships, find out where I went wrong, and make myself a better person, hoping that the next person will be Mr. It. Now, I know people right now, they when they get out of relationships, they don't even examine what happened or themselves to see if it was something that they did wrong. I have a friend right now. Oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't need to be fixed. Um, hmm, but you're still
Let's
single.
quick question. Now, you just brought up a good question. Here, audience, do we see relationships as a learning ground? Do we actually learn from relationships? Do we actually evaluate what we're doing for ourselves, to ourselves, and to the other person? Do we even take time to look at the lessons that we learned in relationships? Do we even use it as a learning ground?
Gigi says yes.
Okay, if you do that, put yes in the chat. If you learn something and you actually grow from relationships, put yes in the chat. Okay.
Okay, now Sharon, she's my most interesting participant. She says, not really. We already know.
Okay, let's go to number two.
All right, give me a half a second. All right,
Okay.
example number two, communicating with clarity. Tasha and Malik had been dating casually. Tasha desired a committed relationship while Malik was content with the status quo. After an open conversation about their intentions, they realized their goals didn't align and amicably parted ways, allowing both to pursue relationships that match their desires.
All right.
Great
What's the
example.
facts here? The facts are that this couple we're dating. We're doing casual dating,
Right,
and the lady Tasha wanted more of a commitment than Malik did, and Malik said he didn't. Apparently, he wanted things to stay as they are,
right,
status quo.
right.
And then after open conversation, they intended to let go, and they went their ways. Now, who in the audience would tell us what that conversation would look like? Who want to share?
Sharon, would you like to share?
Who would share what that conversation look like?
Not what I would just say. I would just be straight up. I mean, not be rude, but be straight up. You know, I don't think we going in the right directions. I don't think you're gonna be happy with me. I'm not gonna be happy with you. I already know that. So I mean, just be straight up.
Okay. So you just say, guy, it's over here.
No, but no, I mean, but like I said, we already know. Like Linda said, having a discussion, or somebody said having a discussion about, or do we learn from mistakes we made? We already know when we in a relationship. We pretty much know our intentions, what we're doing, or whatever the hell else. Oh, excuse me for cussing, but we know.
Okay.
I
All
know.
right.
Let me put it like that. I know.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
right.
All right. All right. Now, okay. Any more comments about this one before we go to number three? Okay. Number three.
Okay, we have number three. Give me 2 seconds here. All right, number three, establishing healthy boundaries. Angela noticed her partner frequently dismissed her feelings. She sought therapy and learned to set boundaries, expressing her needs assertively. This led to improved communication and a more respectful dynamic in their relationship.
Okay. The facts are that Angela thought that her partner or significant other wasn't really listening or taking her feelings seriously, which I think this happens a lot, by the way.
It does.
It's the other person's facial gestures or the comments they make or their attention to detail kind of let you know that this person ain't taking me serious. So
Right.
when that happens, then apparently she felt she needed some outside help. And this is times where outside help can help you sort through some of this stuff. Because if she'd have tried to deal with him right then and say, hey, look, you're not listening to me, you're not this. He'll probably say, yes, I am. Look, you say the same thing 50 times. Come on, girl. But she felt she needed some outside help to sort through some of that. And she did that. And then she went back and had a conversation with him. And based on what she had got through her therapy, through her outside help, they were able to pull it together and had a better relationship because of that. Now, what would that conversation look like? Now, what would that conversation look like? Anybody will offer what that conversation would look like? What would Angela be saying to her partner? Okay, then I'll be Angela. Okay, I'm Angela. Hey, partner, look. I keep telling you stuff, and for some reason you're blowing me off, or you make me feel like you're not taking you're not taking me serious, almost like I'm not being seen or not being heard here. So I felt maybe it was me. So I went out and got some outside help and a counselor, and actually working with the counselor, I realized you really aren't taking me that serious. Look, here's what I need from you. I need from you to understand when I tell you something, it's because how I feel in my soul, in my perspective. Here's what it's doing to me. And if we're going to continue this relationship, I need you to take me serious, or either let me know, even if it's just you telling me back what I'm telling you, and let me know that you understand that, so I feel like I'm being heard, I'm being seen, and I'm being valued in this relationship. If in order for us to keep going forward, that's what needs to happen. And then he says, okay, I got you. I love you, baby. Let's do this. That's pretty much it. Anybody want to add anything to that?
Can I ask you a question, Rufus?
Yes, you can.
Why you got to do all that patronizing and stuff if in the beginning of the conversation? I mean, why can't you just say, look, I think we need to really talk. Maybe that's you, or maybe I'm not as emotional or something. I don't know. But you'd have been talking too long for me.
And the reason why I said that, here's why I did it that way. Because remember, the whole thing is he's not listening to her. He's not taking what she's saying serious.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to patronize him and break it down to make him feel like I'm the wrong one by trying to say, okay, listen to me. I mean, maybe I'm hearing it wrong or whatever.
Okay, then Sharon, tell me, how would you do it? Give me your clothes. Give me your way of doing that. What would tell me the conversation?
I would just say, look, I think we really need to have a serious discussion, and let's keep it real, be for real, let's not bullshit each other, and just say how I'm feeling and ask him how he's feeling after I express how I'm feeling. What do you think about what I said?
Audience, put it in the chat if what she said, you figure what she said was okay and it worked, put okay in the chat. If you feel that Sharon hit the nail on the head, put okay in the chat.
We got one. Gigi says okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any more comments on that?
Yeah.
Okay. No more comments. Okay. Great job, Sharon. All right. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Andre did say, so I don't know if he could respond immediately. So, you talking about the guy in the example, Andre? Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I can see Sharon pointing it that less words better. Less words make it clear.
Sometimes you just need to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Cut out some of the fluff and get right down to the nitty gritty.
Okay. Good job, Sharon. Number 4. Okay. That was number 4 now.
Correct. All right. Embracing growth and evolution. Danielle and James supported each other's career aspirations, even when it meant long distance periods. Their mutual encouragement and adaptability strengthened their relationship, leading to a successful partnership, both personally and professionally.
Okay, this one's pretty cut and dry. Anybody got any comments about this one? Because I think this one was where both of them mutually decided they needed to work on some things. Any comments or questions about this one? Okay, these first 4 examples she did was illustrations that we just took from the subject matter of the material and made them. Now we're going to do 4 more. These 4 are from real life case studies. The 4 that we're going to do, the second 4. You got a second 4, Glenda? We're going to start from the second 4.
The real life inspired
Yeah,
example.
then these are now next one, the real life inspired. The first ones were inspired just from our study, just so we can get a feel of what the information is all about. Now, the second set we're going to go on, these are real life things. These are
Okay.
things, actual case studies. All right, Glenda, you want to do the first one on that? Or you may do
Okay, not a problem. Lisa, 41, kept giving a second chance to someone who only gave half effort. After deep reflection, she realized she was afraid of being alone, not in love. She walked away and chose solitude over suffering. Now she's dating someone who respects her standards. Amen, girl. Go ahead on, Angela. Lisa.
Okay. And this one, choosing worth over loneliness, is the title we want to give this one. Have anyone ever found themselves in a situation very similar to this, or seen someone in a situation like this?
Yeah.
And want to comment? Anybody want to comment on this one? Glenda, you want to comment on it since you said yes? You said yes, like you had some feelings, some emotions about this one.
Well,
Yeah, to
yeah,
share.
but I was trying to give the floor to the audience before I start talking because I don't want to take up all the time conversating. Hello, Mr. Kingdom. I see you in here.
Hello.
Hello. My thoughts on choosing worth over loneliness. I know I've mentioned it quite a few times. The last relationship I was in was for 15 years, and I really had to pray myself out of that one, and I really felt as if, oh, I'm better than this. I'm giving all that I can and I'm getting little to nothing in return. And if I just so happen to be by myself until my knight in shining armor comes around, I am comfortable with that. I love myself that much to be alone until God sends me my Boaz, because this man that I have right now, he was not serving me. He wasn't doing anything, but it did have a purpose and it was a lesson learned, because it taught me that I don't need a man. I can still, make things happen without a man. I was getting things done around the house, for example, that he could have been volunteering to do, but he chose not to do, even knowing. So if I never dated again after him, I would have been fine until the Lord sent me my knight in shining armor, because I love myself enough to be alone than put up with someone that wants to hold a title and really not pour into me on a daily basis.
Okay, what I saw in the chat, people agree with you.
Oh,
Anyone else want to put in the comments in before we go to number 2 on that one?
Sharon loves her solitude.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's my number one.
And I think Ava said I can do bad by myself. I saw those.
Absolutely right. And I'm gonna tell you something. My dad, when I say that to my dad always come back, no, you can do better by yourself.
That's hey, it worked. It works. Hey.
It does. It does.
All right, then let's go to number 2.
Okay, wait a minute. Did you see Andre's comment?
No,
People
I
say
didn't. I didn't see that. I just saw the ones came across. What did Andre say?
not a problem. Not a problem. People say they can deal with loneliness until they're actually. That's true,
You
but
didn't
I'm a
finish it. You
little
didn't finish
weary.
it though. You only said you didn't finish it. You said
I
alone.
did.
You said only can do it. Then you said that's true. What do you say?
No,
Keep
I
on saying.
did. People say they can deal with loneliness until they are actually lonely.
Oh yes, yes.
And I mean that some do. I mean, it differs from person to person. But for me, I've been lonely from the divorce and in all the relationships thereafter. Even how can you be lonely in a relationship? You already know that relationship is not good for you. It's not healthy. It was toxic. What's the point of being in a relationship and you're still feeling lonely, but you're connected to somebody? Okay.
I just saw Andre say you only clean out so many times, something like that.
Ava says she likes her peace. Amen. I don't blame.
There's a song by what's that? What's that guy? Bobby Womack. He says, "When you lonely, think you're lonely now. Just wait until the night."
It's okay. It's okay. Go get Bob. How about that?
Okay, let's go to number 2.
All right. Give me a Second, we have clarity from day one. All right, Janelle, 34, decided to be upfront in her dating journey. From the first conversation, she let potential partners know she's looking for a long-term commitment. Thank you, Janelle. It scared some away, but the right one respected her transparency and matched her energy. That's how it's supposed to be. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. She had to wait it out. I mean, she had a couple of, sour pusses along the way, but at the end of the day, look what she got in return after waiting. The Bible says you have to be long suffering.
Okay, if you agree with Janelle, and that's the best way to do it, put yes in the chat, please. If you agree with what Janelle did, Janelle decided to be upfront, and she told her people that she met, and she said, here's what it's going to be. And those that jump ship, and the one that stayed. So if you have to put yes, oh, wow, yes, it's okay.
Hey, Sharon, she's a lively one tonight. Go ahead on, Sharon. I just love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Ava and Gigi. I appreciate that.
All
What
right,
you got
let's
to
go
say,
into
Mr.
3.
Carpenter?
Huh?
No,
What now?
Mr. Carpenter, what's your response?
The first time I saw it when I was young, that hit me, and it shocked me at first because I didn't sit down thinking long term. When I sat down, I was thinking about she looked good. Hey, she got good conversation. Let's talk. And I didn't think beyond a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. So I learned as a young person that, hey, this comes up now. So I thought about it. Now I know I can deal with it. Now I can understand the conversation now. Back then I couldn't understand the conversation because I was saying, wait, woman, I don't even know you yet. We ain't got together yet. Hey, at least let's finish the night because the night might decide for me.
See what I'm saying? See, that's what messes you up every time.
No, I'm just saying. When I first learned, this is when I was a young guy, when I was a lot younger. Because my mind said the second date should have been the one where she should have had the conversation like that. But I was younger. Now I know. Now I know now. But go ahead.
All right. Okay. We are moving right along. So example 3, rebuilding after burnout. Kim, a married mother of 2, realized she had no emotional space left. Her relationship was draining her, and her partner attended counseling. I'm sorry, let me start all over. Kim, a married mother of 2, realized she had no emotional space left. Her relationship was draining her. She and her partner attended counseling, reestablishing communication, and agreed on a new boundary and routine. Now they're thriving again.
I think this is something so true because a lot of times when you're married, one normally takes the other for granted. And if one's a giver and another's a taker, that really happens that way. So in marriage, I think in marriage, you really have to circle back and check with each other because one can be a helper and want to do everything. And the other one say, okay, you want to do it, just do it. Hey, you got this. And you burn yourself out. So I think that's true. I think that's true. I think that's something that we really need to do. And the fact that they went to counseling together and they worked it out, because some husbands or wives won't go to counseling. They say, right. Ain't nothing wrong with me, I ain't going.
Right.
So you have to kind of sort it out on your own. So what would that conversation look like if you were the one that was getting abused or you felt you was at wit's end with that in that marriage? How would you approach that? How would you even talk to them about going to counseling? What would that conversation look like? Nobody, no takers?
I want to say this, but it's not about what the conversation look like. I really think in any kind of relationship, it's gonna be one person that gives just a little bit more. But that's what I think keeps the relationship balanced, really. Because if 2 people is just alike and both of y'all agree on everything and both of y'all bring each other flowers home and all that old mess or stuff, then I think it would get on both of y'all nerves. It would get on mine.
Okay.
Yeah, she ain't no but the truth.
No, but you're right. But a lot of times in relationships, that happens a lot. It happens a lot. It's something one gives the other. And see, these things are songs for me. These That's a Teddy Pendergrass song. I'm giving 70%. She's giving 30%, 20%, 10%. So that happens a lot. When you see that happens, conversation, clarity, conversation. If you can't conversation, get the counseling. Because sometimes a third party comes in and can help you sort through some of that. Because a lot of times when you're talking to the same person over and over and you tell them the same thing, they stop hearing or either stop caring.
That's not what I meant. I didn't mean if both of you wasn't caring. What I
No,
meant
I know what you meant. I know what you meant, Sharon. What I was doing was summarizing, going to the next one.
okay.
Yours were that flavor. It may be where one person may be a better provider or a better doer, and they're stronger than the other one. And I understand, and they blend because they've been together. I have a friend that he has a disability, and his wife really does a lot more for him than most wives do because of his disability, and it works for them because they separated for a while, and both of them was miserable, and they found out they needed each other. Even though that dynamic of the relationship was screwed up in most people's eyes, it worked for them. So they separated thinking that, hey, I'm tired of this crap. And they found out they stayed apart for about 7 months. Then they realized they needed each other, went back together. They've been happy there ever since. So what you said, Sharon, is correct. But what I was doing was just going to the next and summarizing that in most cases that if you find you have an imbalance and you can't fix it on your own, it's good to get outside help. And this is when counselors or therapists come into play. They help you sort through it. Because sometimes you can't solve your own marriage problems where it needs a third party sometimes. And this is the times when that happens and you get somebody to help you sort it out. Okay, number 4, Glenda. Thanks for coming back or circle back around for me.
All right, the vision journal. Sasha, 29, began writing down not just what she wanted in a partner, but how she wanted to feel in love. As she got clearer on that vision, she naturally stopped chasing situationships and started attracting more aligned opportunities.
First question: Who in this audience journal? If you journal, put yes in chat. If you journal, put yes in chat. If you journal, because I wonder, is that a lost art or that's something we're still doing?
So far, I got 1, Gigi. Let me see, somebody else. Let me see. Sharon says sometimes. Andre says he doesn't journal, but he reflects often.
Okay, all right, okay. So he's a great thinker then. You don't need the paper. You don't need to kill trees.
His relationships are perfect.
Okay. Now, hey, Glenda, any questions about this one before we go into the next part? The next part, I want to ask some questions. I want to ask a few questions. And these questions are questions that we are designed to have you participate because they're kind of unique. And also, anything you want to say before I start the questions, Glenda?
No, you go ahead. Keep it going.
All right, sisters and brothers. When was the last time you paused to ask yourself, what do I really want in love? Sisters and brothers, when was the last time you paused and asked, what do I really want in love? And for instance, what came up? Now, you want to put it in a chat or somebody want to discuss it? Brothers and sisters, when was the last time you paused and asked, what do I really want in love?
Andre said, that's tough. That's a tough question.
It is, and that's why it came up. What came up? What came up?
Let's see what we got all the time.
For me, I'll start it out. And this is something you can have. This can be one of those rhetorical questions, and you keep your thoughts to yourself. And I'll keep moving on to the next question. But for me, I remember when I asked myself what I really want to love. I want somebody that understands me for who I am and accept me for who I am, and someone that I can love the same way. I want us to be equally yoked in the fact that we're both not so much wanting the same things out of life, but have the same vision for life, have the same goals and characteristics for life. We don't have to want the same things, but at least we got to have that same vision that we want to is get ahead or whatever. We got to have the same vision. That's what I'm looking for in love.
Okay, Andre says he would like someone who inspires him to be better.
Growth. That's a good one. That's growth. That's good. Growth.
Rufus, go back and read that again.
Okay, the question. Sisters or brothers, when was the last time you paused and asked, what do I really want in love? And then what came up for you?
Y'all missing the whole concept of that question.
Well, I think you're going to take us back three or four
No, I'm going to say something. I'm going to go back to being quiet.
Go ahead.
All right. The question is, when was the last time you paused and asked that question, what you want in love? What you and Andre just did is just told us what y'all wanted from love or in love.
No. You didn't get the second part. The second part, what came up for you? That's the second part of the question. It made you think, when the last time you saw it, to pause first, and you had to stop, pause, and then you got to say, what do I really want in love? And then what came up for you? Here's what came up for me. I want someone, blah, blah, blah. Andre came up and said, blah, blah, blah. That's what came up for him. Now, if you had that question, Mr. Kingdom, what would come up for you?
Well, first of all, I would have to think about what made me pause to ask that question.
That's a good one.
That's why I'm saying y'all kind of get it misunderstood, because it said when the last time you paused. Okay, so when did you pause? What made you pause? And then you got to answer the second. Wait a minute. Then you got to answer that second part. What do you want? You know what I mean?
You want me to do mine first so I can do all of it for you?
Go for it.
Okay. When I really paused, when I realized that I got tired of my life the way it was. I got tired of it. I said, man, I'm tired of what I'm doing. I'm just tired. So I asked myself, what do I really want in love? What do I really want? And then I asked myself what I really want. Then I looked and I thought about it. Here's what I want. I want someone that has pretty much the same vision that I have. I want someone that I can love, someone that can love me and accept me for who I am, and I can accept them for who they are. And that's what took me there.
Well, I can tell you with me, it took my second divorce. Because after my second divorce, I go back to what I've always told you all. You got to learn how to love yourself first. And once you learn how to love yourself, then you can start figuring out what you want in life. And then it can go on from there. That's what happened to me.
And that's why I say these can be I can't say the word, rhetorical questions that you don't have to answer, or if you want to answer, you can, or you can put it in the chat. It's totally up to you how you want to handle that. All right, ready for number 2, or somebody still want to answer number 1? Can we move to number 2?
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, have you ever stayed in a relationship because of potential, not reality? If so, what did you learn? And I'll read it again. Have you ever stayed in a relationship because of potential, not reality? And what did you learn? One more time.
Well, since nobody else want to answer that, hell, I answer that one.
Go ahead.
I was in mine for 18 and a half years. What happened was I was raised up from the old school. Bad start is a happy ending was my belief for years. But then I learned that was bull. I ain't gonna put the rest of it on there because mine didn't get to the happy ending. When it got to the happy endings, I was with my third wife. So that's what happened with that one.
So I guess the question is, what did you learn? I guess that last part, what did you learn?
What did I learn?
Yeah, that's the last part of that.
The first thing I learned was you got to be happy within it to make it happy. Because with me, I learned how to love myself. And once I did that, then and only then did I learn how to love the person I was with. Because what I thought I was giving and loving was somebody just taking me for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it always stayed a one-sided. But once I learned how to love myself first and enjoy myself and learn how to love the other person, now I know truly what I want. And if you can't compromise and get some of what you want, shit, it's time to put that flag up, wave it hard as hell, and walk away.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'll answer that, and I'll let anybody else want to answer the same question. Okay. Have you ever stayed in a relationship because of potential? I'm gonna say yes. I did it. I was in a one because of potential, but not so much reality, potential. Now, what did I learn? I learned that people grow. That people grow, even though they grow. And I went for potential. I grow. I grew. So I got in a relationship because of potential and stayed in because of potential, but I outpaced the other person.
Mm.
So
Okay,
I was looking for their potential and I outpaced them. So it didn't work.
look, Rufus,
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you said that you used the word potential,
Mm-hmm.
then you said you stayed because people grow. But now I'm trying to say, if you stay because of potential, then and you said people grow, then that means you saw that they were gonna keep that potential or continue to succeed. Now, but you can also stay because of potential, and that partner doesn't end up being using the potential or whatever. Did that make
Correct.
sense?
Correct. I know what you're saying, but for
Okay.
my case, I stayed in for their potential, but I ended up outpacing them. So the reason I was in there for their potential, thinking that they were going to grow and I was going to grow, we're going to grow together, and I was going to, but I outpaced them. They stood still, and where it made it they became a drag more than they became a helper.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole reason I got a relationship didn't work anymore. The dynamic changed
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't really looking at reality.
But I guess I'm misunderstanding that word potential. I'm not getting it.
Why? What's the problem? Where's the disconnect?
Well, the disconnect to me is when you with a person for their potential, are you saying you with a person because you can see the good in them and know that they're there, that is there? Or are you looking at the potential saying that that person has a financial gain and you just there for the ride? I mean, what are you using the word potential? Describe potential in a person.
It could be either one. Potential could be that you see their ability and you see so much potential that they have so much potential to make your relationship and life so much better, and you hook on for that. Or it could be their potential to love you. It could be their potential to be a helpmate. It's how you see that word potential.
Well, because the way you just put it, let me put it like this.
Mm-hmm.
In my past experience, when you get with a person, you can see all that potential to where it's heading
Mm-hmm.
because of what they're giving you from the beginning. But then as you get into it, all that was like a persona. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's easy to get her, but when you get her, what you use to get her with, you don't do it no longer.
Mm.
Pretty much. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why the word not reality was there. That word not reality. That persona, that's why not reality was there. That's saying that it wasn't reality you were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
It was a persona.
Like that song say, what you use to get her is what you got to use to keep her.
Let me do this one more, and then we'll end this up because I think we run out of time. Can you think of a time when you clearly scared someone off? Can you think of a time when your clarity scared someone off? And was that actually a blessing? Once again, can you think of a time when your clarity scared someone off? And was that actually a blessing? Anyone would take a stab at that before we here to close this out? Can you think of a time when your clarity scared someone off? And was that actually a blessing? Okay. Is that you smiling, Glenda, because you got an answer?
Well, I'm trying to think back. I wish I did scare a lot of the men off. I wish I would have scared them before we connected. I wasn't clear. So I can't think of a time. I can't think of.
If anyone that hasn't spoke tonight that want to share something with us, want to share some words of wisdom with us before we close out, before Glenda close us out, anyone that haven't shared anything tonight, that want to say anything or share something or leave a little nugget or a little pearl with us before we sign off, before Glenda sign us off? Okay. If they say in church, all hearts and minds are clear.
Okay,
what Andre put, why? What Andre say?
He said why?
Andre, why? And why? Because a lot of times we don't give everybody a chance to talk, because sometimes the conversations run so fast, so smoothly, that a lot of times some people want to say something, we're past the part they want to talk at. So if we give you a chance to talk and share, then it gives you a chance to be a part of what's going on. Because we don't want anybody to feel like their voice doesn't matter, don't count. Because everybody on this call counts. Everybody on this line has a voice. Everybody on this line has a right to be heard. And we want to hear from you.
Right.
And because this is not Glenn and I's forum, this is our forum. This is a community forum called Sunday Night at 9. It belongs to all of us.
Right.
It's Glenn and I, we just had a responsibility of hosting, but we all have the responsibility to contribute. Okay? Anybody want to say anything? If nobody wants to say anything,
somebody
great discussion. Okay, if anybody think it's a great discussion, put great in the comment. If you think this was a great discussion, put great in the comment. While Glenda be chopping up the takes out. What, Mr.
I'm like the Family Feud. Good answer.
You got some.
Good answer.
All right. And Glenda, you want to cue us up and take us out of here, girl?
Okay, as we conclude tonight's discussion, remember that setting intentions is a powerful step towards cultivating fulfilling relationships. Embrace your worth, communicate openly, and establish boundaries that protect your peace. Growth is a journey, and by being intentional, we pave the way for connections that honor and uplift us. Let's continue to support each other in this journey towards love that reflects our true selves. Thank you for sharing this space, and may your path be filled with both purposeful and empowering relationships. Good night, everyone, and thanks for showing up.
Again, happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, everybody, and thank you.